Let's get it on. How are you, Aspire?
Well, I'm very good, and as always, welcome to Allegedly. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. Last week, I presented my conspiracy theory that last publishing of Epstein Files were caused due to the unwillingness of Trump not to begin a war against Iran. And apparently, my conspiracy theory has come true after like 2 weeks. What do you think about it?
Again, I think that having a war with Iran is very much in the cards. That's what I'm going with, and I don't see it being connected so much to the Epstein Files. I still disagree, but could indeed be what the theory is. There's still this missing 3 million pages, which appears to be about September the 11th. But there's a whole lot to unpack with the last release, of course.
If the bloody war against Iran begins, and there will be many like war events during this, will people still remember about Epstein Files in 1 month from now?
I think so. The general consensus is just that there's nothing that can really overshadow the Epstein Files as it is right now. I mean, we do have the potential for that current virus in India to be the next kind of COVID shut everything down, and keep the people distracted and quiet for the most part, because the Goyim are getting out of hand. How are we going to handle this situation? Iran presents a lot of potentials for the near future. We do have the case of course, experimental warfare, which Israel is itching to try out its new weapons, which it already has on Gaza. This new 2,000-ton bomb. I could be mistaken. Yeah, it's just quite crazy. But also I'm using the wrong terminology here, but mini nukes, probably tactical mini nukes. But there is the conspiracy theory that of potential false flag for further escalations of the conflict with Iran, and to potentially use this weaponry, which would be the sinking of an aircraft carrier. Now, since it's already in the sphere of knowledge, maybe this wouldn't be what they go for. However, just like with 9/11, there have been whistleblowers in the past who alluded to exactly this event taking place. Certainly, it could happen. There are some very dated aircraft carriers. These are not anything new. Any new aircraft carriers currently pulling up. I'm not sure about the dates of all of them, but there are certainly several decade-old aircraft carriers, and to lose one of them would probably play very much in the benefit, as well as the lives of the sailors on board. So it's something to be to pay attention to.
Do you think that this operation will be as short as in terms of as it was in Venezuela or Iraq? My biggest here fear is that this operation of overthrowing the dictatorship will be quite quick. So I know maybe a few hours, few days, but afterwards, U.S. army or Israeli army will leave the situation as it was. They will be just overtaking the oil plants, and it will be even bigger chaos that it used to be under the dictatorship. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't Iraq 2.0. Iran certainly has probably taken a lot from recent events, and talking about recent, like over the past few decades, having to deal with Iraq, having to deal with Libya, and again, as you mentioned, with Venezuela. Certainly, the Venezuela campaign is was basically a preparation for potential conflict with Iran and maybe what they will do. And as you say, it could be maybe a few hours, maybe a few days. I'm a little bit skeptical that it would be such a short operation, but considering that they had the schematics, they knew the ins and out of Maduro's complex. Who knows how much of an inside report they have of all the military, logistical, the basic floor plan of the leadership of the dictatorship there in Iran, if such a process would be so smooth. And also, just as you're saying, maybe it'll become a chaotic mess. Would Iran potentially become Libya 2.0, where it drags out for a couple of weeks, and the aftermath is, this terror and chaos of the civilian population?
Basically, in every country where U.S. in the last 30 years intervened, so it was Libya, Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Panama was in 80s. After the intervention, there was a huge chaos. We have never had well structured aggression, and afterwards, let me say, introduction of some kind of democracy, and people in this very country started living better life than by previous dictators. So.
Right, I mean, there's two ways things could go with this. Indeed, the Iranian people could see their lives change for the better. The trade-off is simply who's the new dictator of their country, who's now in control, which would obviously go into Western hands, which would be in Jewish hands, in the hands of Israel, because just like we've seen in these kind of supportive rallies for the Iranian people, which, good for them, but you do see the raising of the Israeli flags alongside the Iranian flags, which basically spells out everything you need to know. Well, not only that, but you have the former Shah's son, is it his son, grandson? I believe it's his son. Yeah, it is his son. Keeping him around for exactly this kind of purpose, which I thought they were keeping around Gaddafi's son to put him under the thumb, but they actually, funny enough, and it not reported by the global media. They've been very silent about this. Gaddafi's son was just silenced 2 weeks ago. Executed, or 1 week ago, actually. And I'm surprised I haven't seen more of this in the news press. Hardly anyone's talking about it. Whereas I remember a few years ago that they were hoping, or the people of Libya were hoping that that Gaddafi's son would be the new party to rise up, and they were trying to start a new campaign, I guess. I didn't pay so much close attention to it, just given the situation. But yeah, we could see that this Shah, well, not the Shah, but the Shah's son, being very much pro-Israel in the interviews that he's given, and who's been taking care of him, who's been monitoring him, who's been the hand that feeds for his time. Anything else?
Well, from my side, what I've been reading lately in the Epstein Files was actually that all of these wars that are recently happening, or even the pandemic situation, it was already described in 2012, 2015. Is it any coincidence?
Right. I mean, well, this is part of the plan of I can't remember if it was the New American Century or one of these other planned out one of these other plans that they had wrote about, in which it was to take out Iraq, take out Iran, take out Libya. They had the whole list. I believe even Egypt was on there. which, you know, we had the Arab
And
Spring to take care of.
2011 we had, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and I mean, it's such a shame that that people are just not remembering the course of events. You know, I mean, indeed, I don't want an Islamic Iran. However, the puppeteering going on of Israel over the United States after Israel attacked Iran, you know, 1 year ago, and then kind of got really taken aback by the response of Iran, and basically sent running with their tail between their legs, and then called upon the United States to attack Iran, and Donald Trump answered to that with a short bombing campaign there, taking out not only military or nuclear supposed nuclear facilities, but actually targeting the infrastructure, targeting major food production, and one of them was a major milk production facility. And, you know, we're just going to see probably with this buildup, I can't remember what country they're in where they're having all this secured military presence. I think it's either in Iraq or one of the countries nearby, of U.S. Air Force, Army presence, which is even greater.
I think you meant Lebanon maybe, yeah? Lebanon or Yemen.
I can't remember where they're parking everybody, but it's an even greater number than when we attacked Iraq, or is anticipated to be. And Trump has said that they are continuing to move resources. The final military elements will be moving there soon. So we haven't even seen the last of that. So it could be a longer, dragged out war, but just like with Iraq, how long did the Iraq war last? I mean, that went on for a few years, even after the removal of.
I think were you serving in Iraq for some time?
Yeah. I mean, even I was there, you know. I mean, technically, the war was over, but it was this long period of transition, right, which will probably be in Iran. You know, they'll say, oh, we need U.S. as a security force to, of course, we're going to be the Goyim lapdogs to clean up the mess. Well, we're not even going to clean it up. We're just going to keep, you know, kicking the dirt around while we're there. And at least for the sake of Iranians, that it's probably not going to be the same situation with Libya, where indeed, while that was a very quick operation, the chaos which ensued, you know, it was just hands off by the U.S. government. There weren't any later security forces to keep things more operational, and
they were for many years in Afghanistan. But
right.
As you remember how Biden has removed all of the U.S. forces and left allies of U.S. Left from themselves against Talibs. So it was not a fair move from his side.
Yeah, to the Taliban, and it's a really interesting move. I just recently read a theory about relating to that, about why they left so much equipment there, so much supplies there to essentially arm them.
$33 billion in equipment, yeah?
Yeah. A very staggering number, especially for the Taliban. I mean, wow, what a gift from Allah. Yeah, and time will tell. Time will tell where this situation goes and how things carry on. We're going to see very soon. This is also coinciding with I believe there's going to be an eclipse pretty soon, and I think the timing couldn't be more, well, auspicious for them. And yeah, not looking good for the rest of us. I mean, this is going to be a slam dunk for pro-Zionist forces, basically. Yeah.
Do you imagine what could eventually happen if Trump, for example, refuses attack on Iran? I have heard that Israeli are in possession of many materials from Epstein Island, where Trump is having intercourse with underage girls. In it could be released. Do you believe that he acts out of blackmail, out of fear that his electorate can be shocked by the files?
Well, I mean, like I said, not to completely go against your theory. I mean, they could have dirt on him, of course. Why wouldn't they? However,
I just wonder why for so many years US has not attacked Iran, and now when Trump has come to power, he's immediately starting some war activities. And after he refused for the first time the attack on Iran, the files were published, the first half. And I'm pretty sure that this first half is like the lighter version of what could be possibly in this second 3 million of materials published, were released.
well, I think it's like like we said earlier, it's a perfect. It was supposed to be maybe a perfect distraction to pull attention away from the Epstein Files. That they timed it like that, and these people, they're very intelligent. I would think that they were more anticipatory of a kind of move like this. And for me, it relates to something totally different, and why I don't think that Trump is acting like this because he's being blackmailed, because of how it relates to the general demoralization of society. Because it's just like when we figured out that, but the wider, let's say, spectrum of not only the right but the left figured out that 9/11 was an inside job. There hasn't been any justice for that. And what we have here with the Epstein Files, even though there is so much, we couldn't say clear-cut evidence, right? We couldn't say that because who's holding all that evidence is the government, are the alphabet soup agencies that have not released it to the public. All these videos of CP, right? They said that they don't want to release that to protect the children. However, who's in those videos and things like that, we may never know definitively. But the main message here is just to demoralize society that, and for people who know, this is kind of like chaos magic, this is satanic ritual, this is putting it in your face saying, this is what we did, we can get away with it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so we really have to hang on to the Epstein Files. We cannot shut up about this. Unfortunately, the answer is that's it. We can't shut up about it. Who knows what can be the next step? It's really up to them to make some kind of blunder, some kind of mistake. I mean, just like some of these elitist types believe that the internet was a mistake, right? That we learned too much. There was a cat let out of the bag. There's some of these certain things, but they have their if you follow what the idea behind Satanism is, that they have to tell you what they're doing in order for them to do it, in order for you to accept it in this program.
But do you think that Jeffrey has committed a suicide?
No, I think,
A second part, do you believe he's still alive?
Yeah, I feel pretty confident that he's alive and well in Israel. and it's just a pity that there isn't a follow-up and investigation, because we don't have the type of people who are in those positions in the FBI and the CIA to really do an in-depth investigation. But, it's for those who are skeptics as to whether or not, who are on the side that, oh no, Jeffrey's dead, he was killed in his jail cell. Look, the Jews are very much, they are like this. They, they formed the ADL over the lynching of one of their own, over the hanging of one of their own who raped a woman. And this created the ADL. And there's a whole history of these type of events where it doesn't matter how nefarious the activity is, they will stick to their own. And from what I've heard, like I listened to Red Ice recently, some of their podcasts was, there was the interview, stating that, and this interviewee in one of their, I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but it's just like, oh, Jeffrey, he's no longer useful. And it's just like, it doesn't matter. They're going to stick their neck out for their own at any rate, because they are the chosen people. They can't be subjugated to the law of the Goyim. They cannot. They're above the law of the Goyim. So, just like there's theories that Ghislaine Maxwell is not the real Ghislaine Maxwell in her cell. I don't know, but I would certainly believe it's plausible that they already replaced her. I believe it's plausible. I'll give it a 50-50 whether it's really her who is sitting in that cell right now with a puppy. Also, she gets a puppy. This terrible, terrible woman, heinous woman, satanic woman. These people, they only talk about these teenagers. Oh, everyone was a teenager, maybe around 16. Not about all the children who are around 10 to 14. They don't talk about these children. And they don't talk about the fact that it wasn't just like Bill Gates. It wasn't just a 17-year-old. He was with, there's documented cases of him being with like 13, 14-year-olds. And nobody talks about this, at least not in the mainstream. Thank goodness for the release of these Epstein Files. It's very interesting. It really allows the public to participate in the investigation, and for everyone to really be allowed to make up their own minds about it. Thank goodness that there's at least this much of scraps that they allow the public to have, because a lot of it has been really vindicating for people like us who have warned and tried to say exactly what has been going on for so many years. Literal, satanic worshiping, baby eating, baby graping monsters.
Did you see what kind of software Jeffrey was using for recruiting the potential victims? The children, basically. So there was invented just for him a software invented by a, let me say, inventor from from which country, of course, that was going through the information in internet about girls. What are they Googling? And if the software was finding a girl who is from fatherless household, she goes through some kind of depression and so on, and they were checking what they are Googling, what these girls are Googling, and afterwards they were contacting them. So they know that there is nobody to defend them, nobody will be looking for them, and that their mental point of origin is not so strong, so they will be easily manipulated mostly. So Jeffrey had even special software to look for a small children, because he wanted them to be defenseless. So that was his aim mostly.
Well, let's break into that. Let's just go transitioning from the Iranian conflict, which will be, to just talking about the Epstein Files. I mean, there's so much to delve into here. from let's okay. So this software, that's really something. Another thing to capitalize on that is the fact that you mentioned depression, fatherless households. Something that I've noticed and tried to be confrontational, trying to confront, not be confrontational, but trying to or I guess it's confrontational, confront the left about, is how depression is the mental disease that is it's the gateway. It's the gateway mental disease that leads to all these other issues, all these other mental these mental disorders that people have. It's how they are exploited, especially in the teenage years. And how these young people, when they get online, they go to Reddit, where they have these essentially societies of groomers, like with the furries, with the other LGBT, to groom these young teenagers or even preteens into sorry, I keep hitting the table, so it's shaking the camera. Sorry, guys. To groom them into being these kind of creatures, basically, and really screwing with their minds and getting them to double down on these depressed notions about themselves.
Getting off topic and summing it all up, I have seen an interview with a therapist for young children, and she was speaking about children going through sex change, gender change, getting their genitals, let me say, cut off. She said that the problem with these children is always contained in parents. When they come with the parents, there is usually just one gender household, so you know what, or even two parents from two let me say two sexes, but both have some kind of mental disorders, and first to be treated should be the parents, and afterwards the kid would not go through this difficult phase of this other, let me say, misconception of where they belong to.
Right, yeah. And that's something hopefully when we win, that it'll be tackled. This is a very serious, not only epidemic, but terribly satanic cult of exploitation of these innocent poor creatures. People. Yeah. And unfortunately, you have these insane parents who, as I learned, can't remember his last name, but you should definitely look up Sasha and Epstein. If you look up interview with Sasha about Epstein, about Trump, and it's very easy to understand how even in the United States, not even in the United States, but just in the United States, how people from poor families who don't have, they're not only are they psychologically messed up, but if they're poor and they have children, who have no problem selling their children into these kind of satanic circles, and have no problem arranging for more and being part of this, utilizing whatever they have to get into these elitist circles, to get a taste of that, to get those breadcrumbs direct from the table. And they have no problem selling their children into it and being part of this slave system. I really feel a genuine sense of gratitude, to be honest. Not only not to be part of that ring, like we are freer beings, not being a part of this elitist caste. The underdogs of this elitist caste, they are the true slaves to this. Their lives are worthless, meaningless. The elitists can kill their children. They can kill these wacko parents. And not only that, you have the slave caste, which everyone admires, which is, of course, celebrities who are also a part of this, who have satanic parents, and who also become inducted in this satanic society. And it's really, a sad cyclical system where the victim, the children, grow up to become the victimizers. And this is a repeated cycle. And actually, if you watch certain Hollywood movies, there are many films that allude to this. One of them I watched just recently because it's like this dark fantasy style. I really love this type of genre of dark fantasy, the way that it's filmed and everything. But it was not Dark Crystal, but Dark Crystal is a commentary of itself. If you watch that movie, you can get very easily what the subtext is. Unfortunately, I didn't finish that movie, but there was another one with Tom Cruise. He's very young, and there's Satan, right? And Satan with the big black horns, he's totally red. I can't remember the name of this movie, and I just watched it. You don't know? Gosh. But anyway, in this film, it's Satan becomes preoccupied with this princess because of her innocence, and he wants to corrupt her. And it's very interesting that Satan also, he's communicating with someone off camera, just a disembodied voice. And it's very interesting what this disembodied voice is, who he's speaking with. And I guess, even though it's all-powerful Satan, I think the idea is that this is also representative of these people who are in the satanic circle, who are trying to understand maybe their own obsession with innocence, and their draw to it because they want to corrupt it. And so in this film, Satan attempts to corrupt this young girl, this princess, this woman of nobility, which, of course, the satanic circles have done quite a fine job of corrupting our nobility, our former nobility, our greatest bloodlines. And it's very much an expression of what they think. And it very clearly spells it out. Like they get an enjoyment, they get a pleasure from being able to corrupt our youth and our bloodlines.
It is actually what was happening with Epstein recruiting small girls. He was after they were searched through in internet, somebody has found them, brought to Epstein. So first of all, he was offering them $200 for making him a simple massage. Mm-hmm. Afterward, okay, they were agreeing. Just and
simple massage,
simple massage. Afterwards, he was offering, like, crossing their borders, their moral borders, right, by offering them more and more and more. And they were ending up in some acts of not going. I don't.
Lewd acts.
CP acts.
Yeah. It's always this process. It's a gradual process. Obviously, they don't want to get someone into it immediately.